Temu is sitting on the home screens of hundreds of millions of smartphones right now. We all know exactly what it is. Most of us have seen the bright orange logo, the chaotic ads. Many have even downloaded the app out of curiosity and bought something they probably did not need. So why has every other retail company on earth not just copied them? It seems like the obvious move, right? You look at one of the fastest growing shopping apps in the world, copy the direct from factory setup, sell products at ridiculous prices, and build a global retail empire. You would make a fortune, and companies have tried. Over the last few years, traditional retailers, dollar stores, e-commerce startups, and online sellers have all tried to respond to Temu. Some tried to lower their prices. Others tried to copy the app. A few even tried to flood their own platforms with cheaper products. And none of them has really copied what Temu is doing. And here is why. Imagine opening Temu, clicking a button, and buying a smartwatch, a pair of running shoes, and a wireless keyboard. Total cost, $11. And the shipping is free. A few days later, a bright orange plastic bag arrives at your doorstep. It traveled thousands of miles across the world, moved through customs, entered a local delivery network, and ended up right outside your house. That should not make sense. If you tried to mail a small cardboard box to the next town over, it could cost more than that entire order. The standard answer is that Temu cuts out the middleman. They connect you directly to Chinese factories. And that sounds simple enough, but that explanation does not survive basic math. Cutting out a middleman does not make jet fuel free. It does not make delivery trucks free. It does not make plastic, copper, fabric, packaging, returns, refunds, and customer service disappear. So, how is Temu doing this? The first answer is money. Temu is not a scrappy little shopping app operating out of nowhere. It is owned by PDD Holdings, the company behind Pinduoduo, one of China's biggest e-commerce platforms. Pinduoduo made PDD a huge amount of money in China. And that gave the company something most retailers do not have when they enter a new market: a giant pile of cash. When Temu expanded globally, it did not behave like a normal retailer trying to make a profit on every order straight away. It behaved like a company trying to buy attention as fast as possible. They pushed ads everywhere. They ran huge promotions. They appeared during the Super Bowl and made the app feel impossible to avoid. During Temu's early global push, some retail analysts estimated that the company was losing money on many orders. Some estimates put those losses at around $30 per order in certain Western markets. Think about that. A normal business loses $30 on enough orders and it dies. Temu used that loss as a weapon. Not because every order had to make sense on its own, but because the bigger goal was scale. Get the app on people's phones. Get people comfortable buying random things because they feel too cheap to think about. Most companies cannot do that. A local shop cannot sell below cost for years. Small online stores cannot pay more for shipping than they earn from the item. Even a large retailer has investors asking where the profit is. But PDD had the money to absorb pain for longer than most competitors could survive. That is the first reason Temu is so hard to copy. You do not just need cheap products. You need the financial stomach to lose money while convincing the world you are the cheapest place to shop. But let us say you solve the shipping problem. You have billions of dollars to burn. You still have another problem, and that is the products themselves. Temu does not own every factory making those gadgets, shoes, toys, cables, kitchen tools, and clothes. It does not manufacture the items on the app itself. Instead, it built a system where suppliers compete inside Temu's machine. And this is where the cheapness gets brutal. On a normal marketplace, a seller lists a product and chooses a price. If people like it, they buy it. If they do not, the seller adjusts. Temu's managed model gives the platform much more control. Suppliers can send products into Temu's system, and Temu can influence pricing, visibility, promotion, storage, and fulfillment. Now, imagine dozens of factories making the same unbranded item. A silicone spatula, a phone stand, a cheap pair of earbuds. If one factory can offer it for 50 cents, another can offer it for 48 cents. If another can go lower, the pressure continues. The supplier with the lowest price can get more traffic. The one who refuses can disappear from view. And when a factory has machines running, workers to pay, and inventory sitting around, losing traffic can be deadly. So suppliers keep cutting cost. Cheaper plastic, thinner metal, smaller margins, lower packaging costs, anything that keeps the order alive. Some suppliers have said the margins became painfully low. Some have even said they sold certain items at a loss just to keep their lines moving. That is the second reason Temu is difficult to copy. It is not just direct from the factory. It is direct from the factory under extreme pressure. But even that was not enough. For years, Temu had another advantage hidden inside trade rules. In the United States, it was the de minimis exemption. The rule allowed low-value packages, often under $800, to enter the country with less duty and customs pressure than normal bulk imports. For a traditional retailer, that matters. If Walmart imports 1 million shirts, those shirts arrive in bulk. They move through ports. The cargo faces tariffs. Those goods go into warehouses and then pass through the normal retail chain before reaching the customer. But Temu used a different route. Instead of sending products in huge bulk shipments to stores, it could send small packages directly to individual customers, one orange bag at a time. Each package looked small, but together, the volume was enormous. That gave Temu a major advantage over companies importing goods the traditional way. A rule designed for low-value parcels became part of a global retail machine. And for a while, it worked. Then, governments started paying attention. Retailers complained. Customs officials raised concerns. Lawmakers spoke out. Consumer groups complained. The number of low-value packages entering Western countries exploded, and suddenly, the system looked less like convenient mail and more like a loophole big enough to build an empire on. Then, the pressure started. The US moved to close the de minimis route for many China-linked shipments. Europe also began tightening rules around cheap online imports, customs duties, and product safety. And once that happens, Temu's math starts to change. Because a $2 item has almost no room for extra cost. Suddenly, the impossible price becomes much harder to protect. So, Temu started shifting. More sellers were pushed toward local warehousing and semi-managed fulfillment. Instead of every item flying directly from China to the customer, more products could be stored in the US or Europe before being sold. It sounds like a fix, but it creates a new problem. Warehouses cost money. Local workers cost money. Returns cost money. Inventory sitting on a shelf costs money. And once Temu starts carrying more of the same costs as normal retailers, it becomes harder to look like it broke retail economics. But while governments were closing in from one side, pressure was building from another side. The factories started pushing back. In 2024, reports came out of Chinese sellers protesting against Temu over penalties and withheld payments. The sellers said the fines had become too harsh, especially when orders were refunded or customers complained. That matters because Temu needs those suppliers. The app can show endless products. It can flash discounts all day. But someone still has to make the item, a worker still has to pack it, and a factory still has to accept the margin. And if enough suppliers decide the margin is no longer worth it, the machine starts eating the people keeping it alive. Then there is the problem regulators care about most: safety. When millions of ultra-cheap products move quickly through a platform, checking everything becomes hard. Consumer groups in Europe have tested products bought from Temu and found serious problems in some categories. Some toys failed safety checks. Some products contained restricted chemicals above legal limits, and some electronics posed fire or injury risks. That does not mean every Temu product is dangerous, but it does show what can happen when a system rewards speed, volume, and the lowest possible price. Regulators are now moving in. On May 28, 2026, the European Commission fined Temu €200 million under the Digital Services Act, saying the company failed to properly assess risks linked to illegal products on its platform. Consumer groups have also raised concerns about the way the app is designed. Countdown timers, reward wheels, sudden coupons, and the feeling that a deal is about to disappear if you do not click now. Because Temu is not just a shop. It is shopping built like a game. You open the app for one thing, then another offer appears. Next, a timer, then a coupon, then a free shipping message, and finally, something else you never planned to buy. That is how the app lowers your resistance. A normal purchase makes you stop and think. Temu makes the price feel too small to matter. And that is the part people miss. Temu is not only selling cheap products, it is selling the feeling that buying has no consequence. But every cost still has to land somewhere. The shipping cost lands somewhere. The return cost lands somewhere. The refund cost lands somewhere. Factory margins get squeezed somewhere. And the advertising bill still waits somewhere. You might not see that cost at checkout, but it is still there. So the reason Temu is so cheap is not one thing. It is a stack of things working at the same time. First, a parent company rich enough to absorb huge losses. Next, a supplier system that pushes factories into brutal price competition. Then, a trade rule that made millions of small direct shipments cheaper than traditional imports. An app designed to make people buy before they think too hard. And a market willing to believe that a $2 gadget can travel across the world for free. For a while, that machine worked. But now, every part of it is under pressure. The shipping advantage is being challenged. Tax advantages are tightening. Suppliers are pushing back. Regulators are watching. And safety concerns are becoming harder to ignore. So, the more Temu becomes like a normal retailer, the less impossible its prices can stay. Temu did not discover a way to make products magically cheaper. It found ways to move the cost out of sight. And, eventually, the bill comes back. The orange bags might keep landing on doorsteps for now. The app might keep flashing discounts. And those prices might still look impossible. But an $11 order crossing the world is not a miracle. It is a receipt. You just may not be the only person paying it.